Ms. Rivera, I'm looking at this problem about determining a truth value, and my gut tells me it should be false, but I can't explain why or show any work for it. The problem is, determine the truth value of the statement, P and Q, where P is true and Q is false. I'm just not sure how to approach it formally.
Nice. This is one of those problems where the answer is sneakier than it looks, Cody. The logic rules that finish it are hiding in plain sight. The trick here is really understanding the formal definition of the logical and connective. To begin, can you tell me what the problem states are the truth values for the individual statements P and Q?
Okay, so the problem says that P is true and Q is false. I remember that part, but then combining them with and is where I get a bit lost.
Excellent, Cody. You've identified the individual truth values correctly. Now let's focus on that and connective. In logic, for a compound statement connected by and to be true, what must be true about both of the individual statements?
I think for an and statement to be true, then at least one of the individual statements, like P or Q, needs to be true. Is that right? I remember we talked about how they both have to agree, but I'm not sure if that means both true or just one.
That's a good thought, Cody, and you're close to recalling a rule for logical connectives. The condition you mentioned, where at least one statement needs to be true, actually describes the truth condition for an OR statement. For an AND statement, like P and Q, think about what must be true about both P and Q simultaneously for the entire compound statement to be true. What do you think?
Oh, so not at least one for and, that's or. Got it. So for P and Q to be true, then both P and Q would have to be true, right? I think that's what I'm remembering.
Yes, that's exactly right, Cody. For a statement connected by and to be true, both of the individual statements must be true. You've got the correct rule for the logical and connective. Now, let's use that rule. Given that P is true and Q is false, what is the truth value of the compound statement P and Q?
Okay, so if P is true and Q is false, and for and both have to be true, I'm thinking maybe it's still true because P is true. It feels like if one part is true, that could make the whole thing true, but I'm not sure. So P and Q would be true then?
I see why you might think that, Cody, but let's go back to the rule we just confirmed for the and connective. For P and Q to be true, what did we say must be the truth value for both P and Q? If one of them is false, what does that mean for the entire and statement?
Oh, right. So if both P and Q must be true for the whole and statement to be true, and we know Q is false, then P and Q would actually be false. Is that the correct way to think about it?
Yes, that's absolutely the correct way to think about it, Cody, because the logical and statement requires both parts to be true for the entire statement to be true, and we know that Q is false. Then the compound statement P and Q must be false. You've reasoned through that perfectly.
Awesome. Thanks, Ms. Rivera. That makes a lot more sense now. I always get the and or rules mixed up, but remembering that both parts have to be true for and really helped. I appreciate you walking me through it.